Hey guys, we're gonna talk about the first stock that I will talk about here on the channel. Nothing is an advice to buy or sell. I'm not a financial advisor. So I've come across this naka symbol, NAKA. It's Nakamoto, and they just completed the kind of merger in which they will have now a new strategy, which the strategy is to build a not only a Bitcoin treasury, but also, from what I understood, help other people build other companies to build a Bitcoin treasury and hold that on the balance sheet. So it will be kind of like a holding company for Bitcoin and other stakes in other companies that hold Bitcoin. So it will be kind of like a Berkshire Hathaway of Bitcoin. And now, every investment also, of course, has a brutal risk that you can lose everything. And there are a couple of positives and a couple of negatives about this thing. One of them is dilution, because right now it's showing like it's 120 million market cap, but it's actually will be, I think, 3 billion around that once the full dilution comes through, according to the SEC filing, I believe. So, but I see this as kind of like the stock that you hold, 30 years. It's not one where you are like, okay, I'm going to buy this and sell this in a month. I think this is more like intergenerational wealth building stock, kind of like if you, for example, bought, Microsoft, Yahoo, Apple, or something, in the very beginning of when they started, or when you bought Berkshire Hathaway when they started. The good thing is that you don't need to think about it too much, because I'm going to explain it. Now, Bitcoin has inherent risks as well, of course, like quantum computing, where the encryption gets hacked and so forth. But then we have much bigger problems than just Bitcoin. But what the thing is, that if you think that Bitcoin is the hardest and best asset in the world, and it will continue to grow, then what you are actually betting at with buying this stock, you're not actually betting that that Bitcoin necessarily goes up. It will go up probably, but so if you, let's say Bitcoin would only grow like 10, 20, or 30% per year from this point on, then you would be like, okay, well, that's not that much to get rich or something. But if it compounds, it does. But here comes something else. You're actually betting on that the fiat money will fall. And this is something that a lot of people don't understand. In this case, the within 10 or 20 or 30 years, the fiat money will be almost worthless. So what happens is that by buying a company like this that is actually leveraging, and this is something that needs to be explained, they're actually leveraging their stock position and their position to raise more money and dilute or print money. Basically, they're actually printing fiat money by being on the stock market. So what's actually happening, and this is the same strategy as MicroStrategy, and people don't understand yet what's happening. I'm going to explain exactly what is happening. So a lot of people don't understand normal stock mechanics. I'm just going to explain it to them. When you have let's say 100 million shares at $1, you have a company, then you have $100 million market capitalization. If the board and the stockholders agree, then you can do a dilution, right? So you can do, for example, a 10% dilution. Okay, so you're printing another 10 million stocks. So you're in effect printing money out of nothing, almost, you could say. And they are going to use this printed money out of nothing. They're kind of like they're almost their own Fed in a sense. They're going to use that money to put it into a hard asset, which is growing like Bitcoin. And they can do that indefinitely, basically until the very end of fiat. So they're actually, it's almost like naked, it's almost like naked short selling the fiat money. So they're actually going to bring fiat money to its knees by this strategy. And there's a lot of companies that are going to do that. They're already starting to do that. So when basically the start of companies holding Bitcoin in their treasury is a guarantee for the failure of fiat. And the more companies are joining, and I think it's already 126 public companies, and it's been growing, then the more this is going to be an issue. And we're going to probably see the downfall of the first fiat currencies within the next 10 years. So you're actually building a position to hedge against the biggest downfall of fiat money and the biggest inflation that ever was. This is a very, very interesting play. And of course you can lose everything, that's clear. And I think this is one where you are like, okay, if I have, let's say, let's say, for example, in my case, I would say, okay, if you have like disposable income per month, and it's say like 500 euro you have left at the end of the month, which you can put somewhere, then be like, put that in there. That's what I do, and then leave that there for like 20-30 years basically. And just as long as kind of the good news come out and the whole strategy keeps on developing, this is really, and I believe I came through this across like by chance, and I really believe this is an interesting opportunity. So, but you can lose everything. I'm not giving buy or sell signal here. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not buy or sell like advice. I'm just saying like I came across this, and this is kind of like the narrative that I saw, and it became very clear that this is something very unique, something very special. And it's not, you cannot compare it. I'm saying you cannot compare this to anything else that's out there. And this makes it so interesting, because everything else is a complicated business. But this is more like as if you were investing in a bank, which in theory can never fail. So this is going to be super interesting. It's like saying, okay, Nakamoto might become the largest bank in the world. Kind of like this. I don't know, banks are probably already over $1 trillion worth, right? So it maybe within, 5 to 10 years, Nakamoto is worth like over a few trillion. Who knows?